Welcome to Heat 4 of the PartyPoker.com European Open. Only 6 players will sit at the final table with a chance of the $150,000 first prize. 12 pros and 23 internet qualifiers playing No Limit Texas Hold'em. Now in No Limit Texas Hold'em, play begins with each player receiving 2 cards face down from the dealer. Players must then make a betting decision solely based on the value of those 2 cards alone. There's a total of 4 betting rounds, during which the flop, turn and river, which are community cards, come out onto the table. The flop is 3 cards, the turn and river 1 card each. And at the end of the hand, the players must make the best 5-card poker hand out of the 7 cards available to take the pot. Remember, it's no limit betting, so players can bet up to all of their chips at any time during their hand. Last night, another internet wizard went through in Heat 3, Justin O'Shaughnessy of England, the river flowing in his favour. Earlier, Arthur Manfredi, an internet qualifier from Canada, was a surprise finalist from Heat 2. And event promoter Barry Hearn, playing as a pro, went through to the final table from Heat 1. Tonight, the 2 pros are Gary Jones and Dave Devilfish Ulliott up against eager internet qualifiers from the States and Australia.
I'm extremely excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm playing with some pretty stiff competition, Gary and obviously the Devilfish, and then Jason, who is also a pro, so don't tell them, but yeah, I'm a little nervous, but excited.
I like the people you meet in poker, and if you play some of the bigger games, you do get some really unusual characters that you bump into, and for me that's a lot of the entertainment of poker, is the people.
I like to play it aggressive. Here I'll probably start out a little, not quite as aggressive, to kind of get a sense for how other players are playing and kind of adjust to that and do what I can.
Online players have cost me quite a lot of money this year so far. I mean, they always like to attack me, and try and knock me out the tournament. Even if they do no good themselves, they can go home and say, well, I knocked the Devilfish out, So. But yeah, I mean, they're very hard to read because they don't know what they're doing themselves. So it's tricky.
I mean, there's certain things about playing online that are obviously make it a lot faster and more convenient, but playing live, you can't really replace that.
I've actually, over about the last 12 weeks, I've played an awful lot on the internet, and I know some of these boys could play even before they came here and started to impress us. So yeah, none of these guys are walkovers, and Jason Gray, who's in my heat, I've actually played with in the US as well, so I know he can play from experience. So we're just going to have to see how they settle and see if how it all pans out.
This is the trophy that accompanies the winner's check. Pro player Roy Brindley accompanies the voice of poker, Jesse May.
Our first player this evening comes to us from Wisconsin, America. He's a cheesehead, poker player for 10 years. He's made a bunch of money playing online poker. This is Adam Domovic. In seat number 5. He was one of the most successful cash game players in England. Now he's turned to tournaments and has made his name, coming 16th place in the World Championships this year out of over 2,500 players. The choir boy from London, Gary Jones. Coming to us from Denver, Colorado, another American internet qualifier. He's a whitewater raft guide who has now turned to poker, playing almost 10 years. And here in England tonight, this is Christian Bauer. Seat number 3, the center of the table, and also the center of the poker world, from Hull, the top European player. He's won just about everything in the poker world since winning the first televised poker tournament ever, including a World Championship bracelet and a World Poker Tour bracelet. Dave the Devilfish Ulliott. Bunder from down under, all the way from Australia. One of the top cash game players from Sydney, who's had some success in the Poker Millions. He says he got started by watching Amarillo slim. This is Jason Gray. And our final player, seat number 1, a cowboy all the way from Wyoming. He's involved in real estate, but also enjoys a game of poker. In on the internet, Sam Britton. Six players this evening will be playing down to one here at the PartyPoker.com European Open. This is a $360,000 tournament with a first prize of $150,000. And, of course, one of these players going through to the final table. All 5-card poker hands fall into the official ranking of poker hands. At the bottom of the ladder is high card only. Next is 1 pair, then 2 pair, then 3 of a kind. A straight is 5 cards in a row of any suits. Remember, ace can be used high or low. A flush, 5 cards of the same suit in any order. Next is full house, which is 3 of a kind plus a pair. 4 of a kind is what it says. And a straight flush, that's 5 in a row, all the same suit. Royal flush is higher yet. That's a straight flush, ace high. And I'll be joined this evening by a man who's reached the top of the European rankings and is well known as a journalist and poker player all around Europe. Roy the Boy Brindley. Roy, you know some of these players in this field.
Well, not really, Jesse. Just 3 of them, to be honest. And that's Dave the Devilfish, obviously. Gary Jones. There's the fish looking dapper. That's his battle dress, you know, that suit and tie, and put a bolt through his neck. I think he looked like Frankenstein, personally.
Yeah, well, he says he dresses in black because he's going to Five Guys' funeral tonight, huh?
Well, I don't know. That he wishes. You know, this is an interesting lineup, isn't it? Australia, America, internet players, you know, who's to say?
Well, it is Devilfish first to speak, and he's folded the first hand. We are playing No Limit Texas Hold'em, of course. The blinds are 1 and 2,000. Those are the forced bets to start off the action. And that is Gary Jones, who has opened the pot with a raise. And a 7-10. Roy, optimistic early.
He clearly wants to get a chip lead, doesn't he? I mean, it's not cards he'd normally play. Blinds are low.
Re-raise.
He gets a customer.
20,000. 15.
The raise was
Taking a while to settle in,
3,000
boys.
from Gary Jones, and that's Jason Gray, the Australian, picked up pocket nines and has made a re-raise up to, I believe, 15,000. And Gary Jones has declined that option. Give the first pot to Jason Gray, but there's a man in the middle, Samuel Britton, from the small blind in the King Jack, has called the 15,000.
Classic confrontation, a pair against 2 overcards. When all 5 cards are on the board, it's almost a coin flip. But when the flop comes, the mathematics say the pair of 9s will probably still be in front.
Flop coming now. These are community cards, and it'll be Sam Britton first to speak. That is a great flop for a pair of 9s.
Well, I guess it's winning at this point.
5,000.
And Britton fires for 5,000. This guy really came to play, Roy.
5,000 into a 60,000 pot. What kind of bet's that?
Raise to 20. 15
5
more.
plus 15. Jason Gray asking the question here, Roy.
Well, I can't make sense of the 5,000 bet in the first place, to be honest, but he's been given the answer.
It is 15,000 back on Britton. If he wants to call and continue on in the hand. And, of course, with no pair, Roy, is there any way he can call?
Well, he's folded it up, but there was 2 moves, all in and all out. He's come a long, long way to go all out in the first hand.
Every poker hand begins with the placing of the button and the posting of the blinds. The button is a disc that represents the nominal dealer. It moves 1 space to the left every hand. The blinds are forced bets to get the action going. 2 bets to the left of the button, small blind and big blind. The big blind is usually double the small. Action